Live it is. Back again. Another Friday night, another wildly unprepared. If I was a professional whatsoever, I would put a little bit more thought into this after last week's dumpster fire, but we're just gonna wing it yet again. I got Zach on standby. I can keep him in the studio here where he doesn't even know I'm on yet. Well, he knows I'm on, so he's listening, but he can't talk or nothing. So now's the time if you want to get some comments in about Zach real quick.
What's happening? Another day. Oh yeah, got her cut today.
Freshened her up. That's why you ain't got the hat on.
Yeah.
How far can you let a mullet grow before it's not a mullet anymore?
Until I run sevens.
Oh, apparently we got no sound. No sound. What is going on? You can hear me though.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's not great audio, but I can hear you.
Let me check the audio here. Oh, let's see. Because it's working. Maybe I didn't let it warm up long enough. I got this new webcam this time, so I'm in 2K. I couldn't afford the 4K. JKH, Hey man, do we have audio? Anybody in YouTube land want to confirm this?
Nick, you should look at the live video just for a minute for me and see if the audio is working.
Matt Lamb, I can hear both of you, unfortunately.
Perfect.
Oh, Spencer's on. Old self-proclaimed circle burner. Oh, that's funny. So Spencer kind of bummed me out. We started racing with him this year. I must say it was his first. Okay, apparently we got audio. So everybody except Dylan. Dylan has no audio. I'm sorry, I don't know how to help you. We started racing with Spencer. I think this was his first year racing. He bought a car. And then like halfway through the season, he just ditched us and he went back to dirt track racing. But he was nice enough. He did borrow us all the weight that was piled in your car when we went out to Milwaukee.
Yeah, without him, we wouldn't have gone to the final.
No, we needed all that circle burner weight because we had what 100. You had 100, 125 going into the weekend.
I only had 50 in my car. That was mine.
And then we borrowed what, like 150 from him.
It was a goofy number. It was like 160 or something, like a 250s, a 35, and a 25 or something like that.
Well, I think that's the circle track guys stuff. You know, you got to dial in on the four-corner scale.
Yeah, you know, you can't be at 150. You got to be at 160. You know, or you got to have an odd number. 200 too much. 190 might work.
I always think that we put in a pretty good amount of preparation before a race, and then I'll stop at Spencer's house and it's off the chart. I mean, every time I go down there, the car's disintegrating into like 42 pieces. Something's getting changed. We're hanging weight. We're changing springs. We're changing tires.
Now, how much of that is because they bump into each other the whole time? They're just disintegrated and blown apart.
I went to one race with him this year, and I think he kept it off the wall and off the other cars. So I'm not sure. Either he's trying hard or he just keeps wrecking stuff. But I think I'd have a blast doing circle track either way.
Yeah, one racing hobby's enough. My wallet can't take another.
Right. Jake says start something up. You're sitting in front of two cars. I'm sitting in front of two, and not one of them runs.
Oh, I'll start something up for him.
I got the keys for my pickup here. I could hit the auto start.
Hold on.
You're gonna fight. I knew it. Here we go. Headphone warning for everyone.
The only thing that matters.
It ain't even. Oh god.
No, there's a startup.
That's easily the only carburetor you've ever worked on your whole life.
Dude, the thing runs mint.
It does. We've used it ice fishing, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Towed a fishing sled all the way out 2 miles on Red Lake.
Oh man, damn! People work on their car before racing. I don't know if work on it, maybe overthink it would be a fair statement. Think about it a lot, what we could do better, and then do half of the things that we decided would be beneficial.
Accurate.
lot of talk from somebody that needs a lot of work, Dan. If you would have hung a little weight before the last outing.
I wish
So
I could see the comments. I need a second device to read the comments.
I don't know how to make your life better like that. I mean, if I click on one, can you see it?
Yep.
Like that?
Yep.
Okay, so Matt is accusing you of theft here.
Matt, you won't need that 50 pounds when you make 1,800 horsepower next year.
Well, Matt's making 0 horsepower right now.
Next year, I said.
I wonder, he's obviously not sleeping like last week.
Well, we did do it a little earlier, I think.
Yeah, 20 minutes earlier than last time.
How loud is that welding in the background?
That's not too bad.
All right, good.
If it's irritating, somebody can comment on how irritating it is, and we'll tell Nick to shut her down. Well, let's see if we can wake up. Matt. Try to get him on here. Then maybe he can explain to us why he's got 0 horsepower at the moment. So
Yeah.
Real quick before we get too off base. So earlier we were discussing the cost of building a car versus buying a car done. And basically to sum up the conversation, what it comes down to is, when in doubt, at a minimum, buy a roller. At a minimum.
And buy something with better than an 850 cage, as I found out.
Right. I think that's just like nature of the beast. 5 years ago, if you bought an 850 cage, you were pretty golden.
Yeah, I mean, it took a lot to go 850s 5 years ago.
Right, and now it's like the starting point almost nowadays.
Now it just takes one of those. Now it just takes one of those piles.
Right, like I remember when I first put the Camaro together, I was like, 850 cage. Not at no point in my life will I need more than this. I'm set for life. And then here you are, 2 races in. Oh.
Zach says it takes a lot to go 850s. How many years ago? I went 861 this year.
5 years ago, Zach was racing Volkswagen Passats on Spring Street, I think.
5 years?
5 years ago, I don't know.
You can't hide your past. You ain't fooling nobody.
I think 5 years ago I had a Mark 1.
I mean, I can't rag on it. I never had a Mark 1. I had a Mark 2, and I like that car a lot.
Now just add like 500 horsepower over stock in a tin can.
That's where you get the ability to drive nowadays, huh? Cut your teeth in the old Volkswagen.
The Mustang walk in the park.
Was...
Matt, your audio is pretty bad.
Yeah, speak up, Matt. So, is this the one you sent me earlier this week, Zach?
No, I don't think that one was. I think it was a red one I sent you earlier.
Because this is a fine unit. I made a post on Facebook earlier today about cars for under 25K, kind of going to our point about buying a roller or something instead of putting $80,000 into a car that's going to need to be upgraded immediately. And I just stumbled upon this thing, and I don't know about you guys, but this car is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I'm not even the biggest 4th gen guy on the planet, but it might be more the off-white coloring, I think, is what gets me on it.
How much is it?
$38,000 turnkey.
What's the motor?
Well, we don't. That don't matter. It's a big block. Well, no, maybe there's a kid on it. Either way, this thing is a fine unit. I mean, A, it's the perfect color. B, it's got a big block, which I like to pick on them, but let's be real. That's like step 2 in everybody's racing program now, is just going right to a big block. And it's got all the cage the guy needs. So if any...
Can you hear me at all?
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Does it still sound like it's really bad?
It's okay. It's understandable.
My earphones are going in and out really.
That red F body I sent you was, your LS turbo, I think an 850 cage, fairly decent transmission, good rear end, nice suspension and brakes. I think on like 20 pounds, it went mid fives or something, and 25 grand.
Right. It's ridiculous.
I mean,
I think all of us have admitted that we've cleared the $40,000 mark and then some, depending on whose wives are watching. But I know I've gone past the 40K mark, and then I cruise Turbo Bullet, and I'm like, oh, cool. Could have saved about 15 grand, but about a second faster.
yeah, could have bought an enclosed and a low 5-second car.
Right. You could have bought a low
For
5
40 grand, all of us have cars that don't run.
3 cars that don't run. So $120,000 total, and not a one of them runs.
Hell of a cabin.
You remember earlier this keep him on the keyboard, Nick. Do you remember earlier this week, Matt, when I sent you a picture of your car from like 3 years ago?
Yeah, the red one?
Yeah, the simpler times.
The one that ran.
Yeah, I saw that Cash at the Creek this year. It was running like 9-somethings in the 8th mile, and the kid was having the time of his life. And I think he drove it home that night and posted some pictures of how good his car runs.
Right? Do you remember those days?
Yeah.
You didn't work on it at all? You just enjoyed it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and everybody came over and told me how fast my car was and how cool it was.
Right?
Yeah.
Where now?
That was, well, I got a pop bottle holder.
Well, that's good. I mean, it looks nice. Well, I don't want to sound like we're complaining, because I mean, I'm satisfied where I am, but don't get me wrong. There's some days you look back, and you're like, oh man. I remember looking at cold air intake for my stock porch gen one day, and the next thing I know, trying to figure out why my car won't go in the 7s.
I'd do it all again.
Yeah, I'd buy one turnkey again. That's what I'd do. Matt's laughing.
Bought, not built.
I don't know why Matt's laughing. I remember having this discussion with him about a year ago today about how much car we could buy turnkey, and even Matt couldn't help it. I mean, you were probably a little smarter than us, though. You got a pretty decent roller to start with.
Buddy, I'm still just as deep as every one of you guys buying a roller or not, and look, still sucking hind tail on Zach like crazy. Still the slowest one out of the bunch, John.
Is that? Yeah, I guess technically, yeah. It's okay. You'll get there. What? So yours is wrecked. It doesn't run. What do we know so far? Give us a little.
We know that
what happened.
If I hit the starter button, it makes a click and then a weird stressing sound and nothing.
Did you drive it home?
No, God no. The trailer did. Off the side of the road.
You had to call the wife, didn't you?
Yeah, I actually had to call her. I was giving one of her friends a ride in it. And apparently the surface was a little cold, and I think my tuner might have taken the high side rev limiter out. And,
that's what happened, huh? Were you playing the keyboard the day before? Is that what happened?
Definitely. Yep.
Were we at least forced? So let's say hypothetically, somehow you remove the high side rev limiter. You go out, the road's what, like 39 degrees. How did it at least trip?
Take.
It's too bad we don't have a log. I'd like to see how far an Alice motor will spin before it comes apart.
Oh yeah, I mean the screen was very bright during the day, so it's definitely a few times in a row.
Danger to manifold.
Danger. It was in the danger zone.
So you pulled the
It was a pretty.
Or you pulled all the plugs.
I did.
Right? And just one is trashed.
Number 2 is off.
Nobody's home anymore, huh?
Nobody's home.
So
or at least someone. No, God no. I got all the plugs out of it right now. You guys are going to find out more about it tomorrow by the way things sound.
Yeah, that's the plan. Come over tomorrow and remove the heart.
Zach, you coming over too?
Probably.
Spencer's in here. Let's see. Somebody says Capizzi runs over 8,800 on a stock bottom end. Yes, agreed. And that's typically where the rev limiter is on all of our cars. But I think Matt maybe exceeded that. Nobody will ever know though. Was there a puff of smoke? Did oil come shooting out of the bullhorn?
Oh, it was way more than a puff of smoke. It looked like California behind me. I pulled her out onto the highway. We got on it a little bit. It literally, it felt rowdy. You know, the car's never left the garage without a tune-up in it that would go at least mid-5s or mid-8s. I mean, I've never taken power out of the car, ever. So, I mean, like, every time this car goes to the Dairy Queen, it's on like I got the CO2 on every single time this car leaves my driveway.
I discussed this when we first built the car, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of nice to CO2. Like, you can just shut that off when you're on the street. And you're like, oh yeah, that sounds nice. And then I custom ordered that race wire switch panel for you that even had on off. And we talked about that, right? Like, yeah, you just flip it on when you're at the track. When you're on the street, wastegate's plenty. I mean, you won't need more than 800 horse or so.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought maybe you forgot or something.
Oh no, I go through every single motion in order to put this thing on kill, pull it out of the old golf course neighborhood. It's never driving around without having some sort of a crazy tune-up in it that's gonna make everybody kind of look at me funny in traffic.
Matt's out here filling up CO2 bottles with every tank of gas.
The funny thing is, I got a Snapchat of it broken on the side of the road. I think before Matt called me, because someone else that I knew drove by it or was nearby and sent a snap. He's like, is everything all right? I was like, probably blew it up.
We were talking. I knew we celebrated too early because we got back from Milwaukee and that was going to be like the last race of the season. And we're like, oh man, I was talking. Well, after the flywheel ordeal, when we thought the motor let go, and we kind of accepted its fate. Nobody was mad about it. We're like, yeah, it was a good run. Well, then it turns out the thing was still alive. So we go out in Milwaukee, the thing does great, and me and Matt are talking, like, God, what a great motor, man. I mean, $600 motor, didn't give us any trouble all year, beat the tar out of it every single day, and I don't think it was 36 hours later.
It's still a great motor. I still ain't got nothing bad to say about this motor. This thing did way more than I ever expected it to do. And honestly, it'd probably still be living perfectly fine right now if I didn't do that to it. That was 100% self-induced blow up.
Right. And I mean, you were pretty skeptical from the beginning too, because you went from like your old truck. Like, I don't think the old motor was ever on the channel hardly. I mean, maybe in a couple of videos when we were down at like Humboldt or something. But you went from what? Like it was a 4. What was the old motor in the truck?
421.
Yeah, so you went from a 421. That thing was what, like 14-1. I mean, it was nasty. It was
Yep.
like 7 horse, right? On motor.
It made 727 on motor.
Right. So you come over from this Motown block, Billy Badass, all the best stuff, because that was an upgrade after you got rid of my motor that I sold you. And
right.
In my garage, and you're looking at this grease ball that I had you go pick up at the local Abco, and I could see the look on his face of like, there is no way this is going to do what you're telling me it's going to do. Because I promised you that this car, being 700 pounds heavier, would go faster than the old pickup.
Yeah, I thought you were crazy. I thought right away, I was like, all on board. Let's do it. Everybody's doing it. Let's do it. This thing's going to be awesome. And then about 10 minutes into the build, I thought, horrible idea. There's no way this is going to work. It doesn't sound rowdy. It can't possibly work. And then I ask you if this thing's really going to work. Like every time I talk to you for like 3 months.
That's true. I get the same question every time we talk on the phone. Are you sure? Are you sure about this? Hypothetically,
dude, everything I'm doing still, I'm wondering, are you sure? It's just, I don't know. It's my own pessimism, I guess.
I ain't never been sure about anything in my life, especially when it comes to race cars.
Well, I'm getting a little bit more sure about it as things are going on now.
What do you have a plan? No plan? Still contemplating? What's the deal?
Oh yeah, it's in motion.
It's in motion. You'll just send me a
It's in
picture when it's.
motion at Wheeler, getting
Oh
done.
goodness, going to the big time.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna try to see if I can get 1,500 horse to keep up with Zach's SBE. And it probably still isn't going to. I've literally accepted that somehow Zach is going to drag my ass in his SBE for the rest of my life.
I have no comment. I don't know what to say.
You can't say anything. All you can do is say, I kind of feel like I agree with you until I'm proven otherwise.
Right?
He literally smashed us both.
I know. I don't. I mean, I think I can just get rid of him on the live feed. Just like cut. Nope, crap, mine's bigger. I was trying to just make him disappear.
The new motor should be quite a bit better. Everything's getting built 100% from pretty much the ground up, and fuel system, you know, struts, motor,
Because
turbo.
The front, we kind of knew the front struts and the fuel system were probably the weakest points on the car last year because the fuel system was maxed out since the day we left the dyno. I don't think I put it in a video. I'd take Matt's fuel filter out to get enough fuel flow.
Are you serious? You've never told me that.
It's little things, Matt, that it doesn't hurt if you don't know.
I know. You guys, I really don't. I don't really care about anything at all with it. I just, do whatever you want to it.
I'm pretty sure, I don't know if Spencer's still on here. I think he was there with me when we dynoed your car. I think he was there. I'm not sure. But yeah, we definitely took your fuel filter out of the equation because it was limiting horsepower. So new fuel pump on the way. What, Aeromotive 5 gallon per minute?
Yep, got the new 5 gallon per minute Aeromotive. Those, they don't give those things away. Jesus. That my fuel pump cost about the same amount as my motor from oil pan to from just shy of the intake, with everything inside of it that we did on my old one.
Yeah, we don't want to. Oh, Matt's on here. Matt, we were just talking about building built motors. It's perfect timing. So anyhow, so you got the new fuel pump. Somebody actually just asked, is the new motor another LS engine? Yes. It's, you can cut me off if I start stepping on your toes here, Matt. It's still an aluminum 5.3, but it's an LC9 this time. So all three of our cars had L33s in them, which would be like a Gen 3.5, you could call it. So Matt's new motor is a true Gen 4 LC9 aluminum block. And I think you and Wheeler, you guys decided no block modification, right?
Nick's smashing on stuff back there.
Yeah, I can hear Nick wailing.
He's doing all the work. Nick's making all the magic happen right now.
I'll mute my mic until I'm needed.
So the new block will remain stock block, 100% stock block, stock main caps. They'll get studded. We're going to keep stock main caps in it. There'll be a crank, decent crank, decent rods, decent pistons.
So I was actually just talking to Steven earlier. It's I think it's a Compstar. That's the one you went with, right? That Compstar center counterweight 8-weight deal. Molnar Molnar rods, right?
Yep, the Power Enter Pluses.
Yep. And I'm not like a great person to comment on this because I've never owned any nice rods in my life other than my old small block. But from what I hear and what I see, and guys I know that run them, I think it's one of the best options right now. I know there's some guys with Cali stuff, but I don't know. It's one of those deals. Me and you've been talking about the rotating assembly in this motor for a month, trying to decide what should go in it.
I mean, we're always kicking around all the different options. I mean, when people think that we're always just, all the SPE stuff, it doesn't mean that behind the scenes we don't talk about other things. I mean, we're always contemplating how we're going to stay faster, be faster, or whatever.
Right.
I mean, me and you've been talking about my motor setup for quite a while. I've probably been the one probably talking the most about doing some sort of upgrades because you guys have had some pretty decent success with your SPE stuff, and I think you guys are probably got a little competition with each other at this point now.
Yeah, I can't. I ain't going away from it until I beat Zach in the fours.
Zach,
I'm not going away from it because my wallet won't allow it, so I'm stuck with the stock
Same
bot
here. Same here. There's a reason we call him Daddy Matt.
Yeah, right.
Don't. I can see it in your shoulders how one's a little lower from sitting on your wallet on the other side. So anyhow,
we're gonna spray some on these buildings.
So you want go ahead, Matt. Plug the business. Tilt your head down a little bit. I heard you say spray foam. Other way. There it is. That's where all Matt's money.
Immortal insulation. If you don't have spray foam, you're not heating your shop good enough. That's just all there is to it. I'm sure Bednar's will be able to pop in at some time throughout the season to tell everybody about how he heats that 40 by 60 with a candle.
Oh, here we go. That's it. You're done.
Hey.
You get 15 seconds to pimp your business on the live feed. You're cut off.
Done. I'm good. The rest of it will be in the background of Steven's dyno.
Yeah, that's true. Next time I do a video down there, you should be able to see the little Immortal spray foam on the walls.
You definitely will.
So, Molnar rods, and then you guys you and Steven, I think, talked about this week. You decided on the TSP pistons, right?
Correct. The Texas Speed pistons. And then I think we're going to cap it off with the trick flow heads. Right. Even though I'm still on a 4-bolt stock block setup, I think the best idea after talking to Steven about some stuff was let's go ahead and do the 6-bolt head setup anyway, so that we have room to grow in the future and or resale, whatever.
Right.
So I didn't hurt anything. 6 bolts on.
And I think the thing we found out with Zach's car, when we were down in Cedar Falls, and he was up around 40 pounds and he failed that head gasket, is that there's definitely something to be said for the thickness of the head, a factory head versus an aftermarket head. Like Zach's car, I don't necessarily believe that he stretched the studs or the LS9 just checked out or there was too much timing in it. At some point, I think you find the limit of a stock head. I'm not a professional on this, but I know there's guys that say, "Oh, I run 40 pounds on a stock head, no problem." And I know there are guys that do it with success. But I also think if you're going to spend the money on a short block like you are, it makes a lot more sense just to top it off with a decent cylinder head.
Well, I think that the general consensus is that the trick flow head is just going to have a lot more clamping force.
Right.
That so you guys all know more about it than I do. I just follow the lead.
Right. So then the last piece. Oh, here comes Zach. Go ahead, Zach. Go ahead.
Matt, I don't think it really matters all that much, but did you look at the block to see if it had Siamese bores or not?
No, I didn't even. I don't even know what I'd be looking at, Zach.
Sure. So John and I were, for anyone else wondering, John and I were under the impression that all LC9 blocks had Siamese bores. Out of the 3 LC9 blocks that I picked up last week or the week before, one of them actually didn't have Siamese bores like a L33. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't think you're going to notice a difference. But for anyone that was also under the impression that they all had Siamese bores, they do not.
Right. And that, yeah, like Zach said, I thought every LC9 block had a Siamese bore. And then Zach ended up with one that wasn't. I'm just trying to find a picture here that I saved. I saved it just in case this topic came up. So if anybody doesn't know, basically the Siamese bores, when the bores touch, there's no air gap in between the bores. I gotta organize my life better for these things. This is why I talked to Matt earlier. He's like, "What do you?"
If I can find a flashlight anywhere, I could probably.
Well, I'll keep digging for this picture on the side.
I didn't look at anything. I didn't look anything up, and I didn't compare anything. Actually, Joe Clayson came over and dropped off the block for me, and he stuck around for a little bit, and we disassembled all the short block stuff and got it nice and bare and got it down to Wheelers right away. And
Right.
I worked a little deal with them, and we're going to get it taken care of quick, buddy.
This guy just asked, why the TSP? Why the TSP versus something? Here, I keep forgetting I can do this. So I believe I'm not a professional on this. I'm under the understanding that the TSP drop-in piston that you're using, like a 3.8 bore deal, it is a Weisco piston with TSP.
It is.
Yeah. So it is a Weisco. It just happens to have TSP's specs or whatever you want to call it, their name engraved on it, basically.
John, I found a light that might work. We'll see if I can do it with a camera.
You go right ahead because I ain't finding these pictures.
So on a Siamese bore, there won't be any gap between the cylinders. So you shine a light in this one, can't see any light there. Solid all the way to the top of the block. On a non-Siamese bore, do the same thing, and you can see a little light through there. So the cylinders are not touching, not Siamese.
What a perfect little show and tell by Zach.
No kidding. That was a good one, Zach. Good display, buddy.
Hey, I learned something new the other week. I'll share the info.
Well, I could see why. I guess I can see for why I don't just look at it and notice it right away.
Right.
You definitely got to be looking for it. So
I didn't when I bought my first L33. I didn't even know it was a thing, and somebody asked me about it. Like, well, is it signed like a cap? I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
What the? Oh, this is you guys got Brandon's car up there still.
Yeah, it should be done tomorrow. We're hoping. Two fronts completely done. The anti-roll bar is done. Nick's got the cage probably 85% welded. I think that's all that's left.
Man, not bad.
Wow.
Nick moves quick.
Yeah, hell yeah, he's turning that out quick. Wow.
So then the last piece on your car, then Matt, you're upgrading the turbo too, right?
Yeah, yep.
Right. Top it off.
So
did you decide for sure what you're going with?
I think I did, but I think that we still got to do some fitment stuff. So it sounds like the original plan for me in my own head was to go to the GT55. I think with some of the piping that I've already had made in the past from Brian when the car was originally built, I would have to do some serious modifications to my piping in order to put the GT55 in. It is definitely a large frame turbo compared to my S400 base. So I think my goal is to go to the new VS Racing S498 that I believe is something that's still kind of under wraps a little bit maybe. I don't think it's out on the market yet. And I think in order to find out for sure, I was told that it should fit where mine is, but I think just to be safe, we're going to take that one that Zach just showed us on the shelf, which is I think it's your 92?
Yeah.
I think we're going to see if we have, if that one would be a direct fitment for the exchange of my 88. And if that's the case, then we know for sure, I believe that the 98 will go in. So
if I don't forget, I plan on bringing it tomorrow to test fit before we yank the motor out.
That's kind of what I was figuring. So that's something me and Zach talked about today for a little while. He called me and had some ideas on before it gets totally disintegrated. And he's maybe give it a quick look-see and make sure that it's in fact going to fit as well as I was told it would. So
Sweet.
the new 98 seems to be, I think it's a 98 108 maybe.
Yep.
So good bit of an improvement over $896.
Which it sounds like I am probably going to be getting one as well.
Yeah.
To see what it'll do on a stock bottom end.
Right.
Well, if we know anything from history, it'll be about 3/10 faster than Matt's new motor.
I don't even care.
That was out of line. I'm sorry.
It's not out of line. This is something that I had to get right with myself.
You just had to learn to accept it, didn't you?
That car just hauls ass, man. You know, we've talked about this before, about how, you know, I bought the roller. It was, you know, a pretty well set up roller, but it wasn't 100% where we expected it to be, what we thought it was. So, you know, like some of our outings we're chasing down and trying to figure out exactly what was holding us back. And we were, you know, kind of heading to the track with expectations based off of what we thought was in the car for transmission ratios, rear end ratios. They were turning out not to be. And these are the things that we were talking about one day about how, you know, Zach built his car from the ground up. I mean, Zach took a 5.0 Mustang and turned it into to what he has there. So he knew everything when he was going into what he was doing. Everything was carefully researched for him, and it totally shows, 100%.
I gotta share this car I just found. So, on the last video, I totaled up how much I have into my Fox so far. It's about $4,000. I don't have wheels, missing most of the suspension, missing some body parts, old interior. Basically, what I have is a couple really nice teensy things bolted to a shell. Okay, this car has everything my car has, plus full interior, plus a cage, plus an ECU. $7,500.
But you know what it doesn't have?
SVO front end.
That's right.
I'm willing to bet. Well, I suppose you're kind of a Mustang guy. I know Matt knew what it was long before I knew what it was, because Matt is a connoisseur of Mustangs. If you didn't know it.
Yeah, a little bit. I had a handful, or 4 or 5 handfuls.
I bet you never had that SVO though, did you?
No, I haven't. I know a thing or two about them.
I kind of felt bad blasting it apart, but it was, like I was telling you guys on the phone earlier, the thing was rotted. I mean, the frame was shot. The trunk, I was trying to get the spoilers off, and the trunk was locked, but the trunk was so rotted out, I just peeled up the metal, like where it wraps to the taillight, and reached my hand in and popped the lock. So if anybody's super upset about me parting out the SVO for my own car, don't be that mad.
I'm not upset at you.
Good.
I think it looks good right where it's at. It'd be nice to see that car hit the ground, actually be sitting on all fours.
It definitely wasn't like a great decision looking back, you know, hindsight. A lot of money that probably could have went in the Camaro for some much needed updates to make it more competitive, but what do you do? It's too late now. I've already committed.
You could have replaced the glass and the windows and got it.
Just think of how cool it'll be. Just think how cool it'll be when we all three. Well, Matt won't be on a stock bottom end, so when we all three go to Dairy Queen next year, you and I blow up our stock bottom ends, and we all have to pile into Matt's car to make it home and get the truck and trailer.
You know, I got a back seat. It's gonna be weird trying to push you guys through those bars. Tough getting Memphis back there, but I'll push. I'll push on you.
I mean, as long as you're wearing a toe strap, it should be fine. I don't see the problem. This guy's, let's see. This is a good one. This one really sums up why you should buy a turnkey car. So this car is 28,000 turnkey, okay? Let me get her popped up here a little bit better for you.
Is this Nick's car?
No.
Nope.
Definitely not Nick's car.
This car is turnkey at 28,000. It's obviously got the cage. You can tell by looking at it. It's got the right parts. And it's a forged. It's an L33, but it's forged. This guy.
It's a good-looking car.
Right. I mean,
I really like those Firebirds and those Fortune Camaros like that.
right.
When they're sitting, they sure look good.
Man, just thinking of money I could have saved. But then I'd have a 4th gen like everybody else. So.
Now you just have a Fox body like everybody else.
I know. Taylor Barland, I'll make you a deal on a Camaro. I don't think that would help at all. I was just saying I shouldn't have started a second car. I don't think I need a third car. He's not selling that car.
Taylor's keeping his car. He always talks about this. He's keeping the damn car. Let's be real, Taylor.
All 3 of you won't fit in that back seat. You think we won't?
Oh yeah, we will.
I don't know if I ever.
And next week's video is going to be from the back seat now.
Did I ever tell you? So we were, me and Brian were coming back with his 68, the stick car he was racing. We were coming back from Great Lakes one night. It's like 4 a.m, and I think it was Great Lakes. I don't know where to come back from. And I couldn't drive anymore. Brian couldn't stay awake. We're like rumble strips, other side of rumble strips, try not to hit a bridge embankment. So we give up. We pull into a parking lot. And Johnny was with. I hope he's watching because I'm still upset about this. So let's see, where am I? I'm driving. Brian's in the passenger seat. Johnny's in the back seat. This is in Brian's old square body dually. I no sooner put the thing in park and like turn around to talk about sleeping arrangements. Johnny has already turned the back seat into a full-size queen with like 4 comforters, a few pillows, electric fan going up here, his drink in the cup holder. He's out. He's snoring. So I turned to Brian. Oh, same deal. I don't know where these guys got blankets and pillows from so quickly, but they're done. They're sleeping. Well, in Brian's truck, we had swapped in like some 2000 Silverado seats that sat about a foot too high. So you had about this much room between the steering wheel and the seat pad. So sleeping in the driver's seat wasn't an option. So I'm like, all right, tight. Everybody's sleeping. I got nowhere to sleep. So I go back to his Mustang. I'm like, I'll just sleep in the Mustang. It's better than that. Well, the car's got a cage, and he can't sleep in the front. So I huffed myself over the rear bar of the Mustang and slept in the back seat. No pillows, no blankets, just me and my work boots. Wake up. I know you guys have done this before. You wake up and realize that you parked in the dirtiest, greasiest hood along the route, that you didn't know you were in the hood when you parked at 2 a.m. because it was dark. And then you wake up, and I just pop out of the back of the 68 Mustang and look around, and you're like, we got to roll. We got to get out of here now. Like, if somebody would have known I was sleeping in the back of that car, I want to see them the next morning.
Didn't you sleep in the back of that car at I-29 when the transmission took a dump on that?
Yeah.
When the transmission totally didn't take a dump, I should say. It was totally fine, but it turned out to be like a spacer or something.
The bolts came out of the flywheel.
Oh my god!
That car saw so much two-step action that year, it rattled the bolts clean out. Oh yeah. No, I slept in the back of that car. It actually wasn't that bad. I think it was. No, who uses the back seat of the 68 Mustang? Nobody. So they're just fresh and ready to rip at any given time.
That was such a fun car to go to the track with.
I know. I already missed that car.
It was so fun. It was so awesome watching everybody that knew when Brian pulled in with that car. They were like, "Oh, bummer."
Right. That thing cleaned house in this world for a long time. Not a long time. A full season though got her done. And then Brian. And then Brian does the most Brian thing of all time after winning like 3 straight events to end the season. Hey Brian, you got the car ready for next year? I'm over it.
Sold it.
Oh, okay. Weren't having fun, weren't winning enough, or I don't know, do something else.
Didn't that thing win every stick shift class it went to last year? It won Eddyville 2 years ago or 3 years ago out there. I think that's when it started winning.
Yeah, because the first year would have been 2017, and oh god, let's see. We went to I-29 and broke it. We turned
Yep.
around. We went to Ottawa for I think that was like their first heads-up race down there. And Brian, only time in my life I've seen it happen. Brian missed third, I think, and got driven around in the final. And then we went to Eddyville with you and Higgins. Oh,
Joel,
Joel was there.
Ethan was there.
Yep, we all went down to Eddyville, and Brian won that event. And yeah, and then I think he won all the events the next year he went to.
No. Yeah, because that's when me and Brian, that's when I had the truck, and Brian had the stick shift. And
Right.
we just went everywhere and entered truck class and stick shift class. And I think we won, between the two of us, I think we won every event we went to with the truck and the stick shift.
Yeah, it was a pretty good run there for a while. I think because you won Humboldt twice that year, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, they had two of their NE80 no preps there. And I won two of their both of the truck classes for the season, and I won the NA class too. Left the nitrous off it.
That was such a fun event. I already miss it. It's been 1 year since they quit doing it, and I seriously miss
I know.
it.
I actually talked to Georgia Sharp the other day, and he called me and said something. He was looking for some info on his barn that he was building. And I told him I'd come down there and help him out with it if he promised to make any AD no prep again at Humboldt.
Did he at least give you hope, or?
Yeah, he actually did. He actually said he's been thinking about some stuff.
That was such a fun event. If anybody hasn't been to Humboldt, I couldn't recommend it enough. Just like an old strip of asphalt in the middle of a cornfield is the only way I know how to sum that up.
Favorite track I've been to, hands down. I feel like Humboldt is the funnest track to go to. That's where Zach was drag racing guys on the three-wheeler. You raced the guy in the Grom.
Yep.
Totally dusted him. The dude didn't even know it hit him.
At like midnight, the guys running the track just handed us the flashlight and said, "Have fun."
Those guys are so much fun down there. It's like you go down to Humboldt and you're like, this is how drag racing started, and this is how it's supposed to be still.
Those guys are so great to deal with. James is an awesome guy. He just he just kind of lets you roll, do your thing. There you go.
Yep, there it is. There's the old dynamic duo there, just cleaning house.
Yeah, and go figure, they're both gone.
I know.
Oh, wow. It's like, talk about like, I don't know. It's strange to think that you get stuff to where it wins or does well, and then you just dump it. You just dump it and start over.
Right. This was, I think this was that same weekend. This was the first time Johnny ever tried to bring the big block out, and this was after, God, they like canceled the event, and we were all hanging out, and what was it, probably 10 o'clock at night, and they're like, yeah, if you guys want to test that, yeah, okay, we could do that. And it was awesome. Yeah. It was so much fun. Like, I don't even think we didn't put the tree back up or anything. It was just like testing on the street, but we're at a track.
Look at me in my old red coat. God, you loved that coat.
I hated that.
God, I don't miss that thing.
Ooh, this is probably runner up. Probably might be my second favorite track to race at. Well, I don't think you guys haven't been here, have you?
This is Thunder Valley.
Yeah, this is Thunder Valley. Check out the uphill shutdown. I don't have enough speed to utilize it necessarily, but it's there.
I mean, honestly, like if you were to build a track from scratch and be like, you know what, I got some land, I'm gonna build a drag strip. Like that'd be an awesome idea to just put into your land feature for that purpose.
Right. I mean, this is another really old track, kind of like I think Humboldt's from the 50s, 60s, early 60s, I think, and I believe Thunder Valley has been around almost as long, very close to it.
Back when I was a kid, huh?
Huh?
Back from when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, you were probably just graduating college at that time, 62.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you giving me college.
Oops, sorry. Yeah, I think that's all I got from Humboldt last year, but yeah, that was a cool track. I would definitely want to get back down there. Dan Geoffrey hit the
Anybody
pace
know
car. What?
Have you talked to Johnny to find out what he's doing with the big block?
I believe I could be wrong. I think it's at Knowlton's right now.
You think he's going back to a 4.8?
Oh God, the 4.8. I can't go down this road because I have never. There's people in the world now that have gone really fast on SB stuff, but like circa 2016 when Johnny was running 880s on a stock bottom end 4.8 with stock heads and like stock head bolts. And here we are 5 years later with like 3,000 horsepower, and it just keeps fighting him. He's had the worst.
Isn't that when Johnny was able to get into the 9s with a car that wouldn't do a burnout in the burnout box or something? Wasn't it something weird like that?
The 4.8 couldn't do a burnout. He had to do it off the trans brake. Like it wasn't an option. It wasn't going anywhere. This was an off the shelf. It was an S475 off the shelf with a stock 4.8. I still don't know how that car went 880s, but it did. It was fun. Katie Dragway has an insane uphill shutdown. Well, now I gotta look into it. Zach, your wife was just on the fact checker train right now. She says 1964 Humboldt was made, 1965 Thunder Valley. So Matt was about 22 years old at the time.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah.
Glad she's on standby to check that out.
When I thought about doing a live stream, I didn't think I needed somebody like, in the background fact checking, looking up dates for us and stuff, but this works out pretty good.
Well, as we've all found out, you definitely need some fact checking on your math and videos. So maybe your dates are the same.
Okay, I did that in one take, and I got done and I checked it on my phone. I was like, that's not right. That wasn't supposed to be a 10. That was supposed to be an 11. But I'm all about transparency, Just left her up for the people to correct me.
Hey, when you guys come here tomorrow, you'll be really impressed, John, that I got all the oil and all the water out of the motor.
Via a hole in the block?
No, you told me to drain all the stuff.
I did because I hate nothing more than draining water out of a motor. It gets everywhere.
What kind of breakfast will be there?
Buddy, I'm going to be in Afton spray foaming something.
That doesn't mean you can't leave us some breakfast.
The door will be open. You can walk right in and grab whatever you want.
Captain Crunch.
She'll be at work.
I'll be at work. I got to go back down to Stevens on Sunday.
Oh, jeez. Captain Spray Foam.
Hopefully John just has your card still and we can go out to breakfast.
I don't care. Have at it, man.
I still got it. It's right over there. Yep, it's taped to my monitor. Matt's credit card number.
I can leave my little boys a stack of cash to go to breakfast.
There you go.
We're going to need about 4,500.
Oh, 4,500?
Set a trick close for each of us.
So
yeah.
Matt Sather's commenting with some Humboldt info here. Check this out. I've heard stories about Humboldt back in the day. Just read that little snippet.
That's awesome. That's totally awesome. I feel like that's out of an old like.
That's
not so awesome.
The grass turnoffs are not that old. I raced in Humboldt in 2015 for the first time when I was still bracket racing, and I made the pass and I got to the end. I'm like, I just kept going because I couldn't find the road to turn off. So I waited. I was in the far lane. I waited for the inside guy to come by me, and I thought I'll just follow his lead. So I pull him behind him. I'm like, where are we going? And all of a sudden, he just bails right off through the grass. And there's like a little goat trail that goes back to the pits.
I mean, it's not far off from that now.
Oh, come on. Give him a little credit.
I love the place. I'm not knocking them at all. As long as they have about, 12, 13, 1,400 feet of asphalt, that's all we need. I don't care if it's grass turnoffs or dirt pit roads.
Right.
You know what? I've been to some pretty big racetracks. I've been down to like when I did like Armageddon and stuff. I don't even think like the Noble Big Thunder Valley track down there has a turnoff that doesn't feel like you're about ready to go off-roading in Pothole Nation.
There's definitely
I think even Brainerd's like that. You go down the strip and it's going down the airport, and then you turn off and it's like you're on minimum maintenance. It's pretty bumpy even there.
I don't know if Brainerd's that bumpy or Brainerd's track surface is that smooth that anything other than that surface feels like that.
I don't know. I don't unless I'm remembering it wrong. I remember going through Brainerd's return lane and thinking like swerving around to miss shit. But then again, I always had kind of a noisy front end too, so maybe that's it. I don't know.
Right. I've never raced anything quick at Brainerd, I don't think. I used to race up there when I had the S10, but Christ, series going off on me. I don't think I've never been up there with the Camaro or anything, so I wouldn't even know.
I'm excited to race. I mean, I hope Rock Falls puts on some no-time events, or maybe we can talk them into doing back of the track deal. But I'm excited to race Rock Falls with their new facilities that they've been working on this year.
Right.
It's a nice track, nice facility.
Yeah, that place has come a ways. They just posted. I seen they just posted a picture of the new.
Yeah, even all their parking and everything at Rock Falls is nice and flat. Like all their transitions onto the tar and everything. If you got to park in the grass, everything's pretty flat out there.
Yeah,
the staging lanes are going to be on the opposite side now, aren't they?
Yeah. So the side that we used to pit on is just for spectator parking now.
Well, they'd have to have some no-time racing to bring those in.
So all the pits now are going to be on the opposite side. I suppose that's where the concessions are.
Yep.
Yeah,
well, that'll be kind of
back here. Yeah, this is by far the closest track to it. Well, you guys are probably a horse apiece to Brainerd, but like for me, Rock Falls is only like an hour 15 from my house. I mean, these guys are like, this stuff's wild. How much money they put in this place.
It'd be great if they put a couple bucks into a track dryer.
Right. No kidding.
Maybe they will this year. I know that they got the new management there, and they've obviously put some money into it. Hopefully, they'll have invested into some of that stuff. That is kind of that does suck when you go to a raceway out there, and it's always been kind of well known that it only takes a little bit of dampness to shut down Rock Falls.
Right. Yeah, and I know a lot of that. It didn't used to be so bad until they poured that new laid that new asphalt a few years ago, and they kind of had trouble ever since. But
yeah, I think so. To the left of that picture, John, I think those two lanes there are kind of where I think they have like 6 or 8 staging lanes just behind that, and then you'll merge into the 2, which will be nice that it's over there.
Yeah, the only bummer about it is the staging lanes are gonna be behind this massive tower now.
Sure.
So when you're sitting there for like an hour waiting to make a pass, you can't even spectate. So I'm a little bummed about that, but oh well. What's the big ass building for? I don't know. Food. I think looking at this picture, the left end of it is like equipment and stuff. The tractors will go in there, and then the right side is concession stands.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Either way, it'll be a large upgrade from their 10 by 15 concession stand they had previously.
Oh yeah, I mean, like in this picture, you can see the tower in the background, how small it was. But no, it'll be cool.
That go back one picture, John. In the top right, there's their little concessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then right below the new tower, you can see across the track that's the old tower.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, it's
the old tower looks like it's about 40% of the height of the new tower.
Yeah, it's massive. We were out here. Me and my dad took his car out here a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and it's come a long ways. That's where I grew up racing, like way back in the day. And yeah, it's not the same track anymore. But
What was Geoffrey talking about the rumor of a no-time racer? Is that something that?
I don't know. Start rumors. If I had used my clues, I would guess it has something to do with Troy Bednar's.
Sure.
But I'm not sure, and that's completely speculation on my end. But
Troy busts his ass to put together races for people.
Right. He did what, 2
He's got the connections. He's definitely got the drive, and he's a smart guy. He puts together a lot of things. He puts forth a lot of effort, and then on top of it, he still wrenches on his car a bunch and tries to put that thing down the track.
Right. Yeah, he did those races. He does that huge car show every year. So I don't know what Dan's talking about. Hopefully Troy's involved because they went pretty well last year when he did it. So,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, boys, we've gone over an hour. It's time to cut her down.
Did we have over 10 viewers?
We're down to 20. I like to really watch it, in the beginning when you first go live. There's a little bit, everybody's like, ooh. And then after they realize it's just an hour of bullshit, you watch the number tick down the whole time. It's like 25, 20, 14, 10, 9, and then there's 3, which is us.
What was the highest you seen?
The highest I've seen on here? I don't know. 35. Dan says it's that's not what he heard for next year.
Oh dang. Who put that little shootout that Matt won on last year at Rock Falls?
That was Rock Falls, wasn't it?
No, that wasn't Troy's, was it?
No, Troy's was the one that you had to race Clayson like first or second round. We went to Rock Falls twice. Yeah, you and Clayson got paired up. Remember that? And then
that's before my car even started working, huh? Maybe it was. Yeah, it was. It was the rumble at the Rock that the Rock put on themselves. That's when we couldn't get the car to work on skis, and we stole Zach's rims real quick and threw them on my car. And
Yep. So that was Rock Falls' deal. That rumble at the Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Troy did that shootout in coordination with one of the bracket days. Okay, I'm shutting this thing down. Got enough of you guys. Hour 3.
What time are you coming up here in the morning?
8, 9? 9? It's about a 4-hour drive, so.
All right.
All right, boys.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.